I'm Ed Barrett. I'm the creative director here at Animade. I've been here for about 5 years, very much from the beginning.
And I'm Russ, Etheridge, senior creative. Been here for about 2.5 years. Started as a freelancer, but yeah, I'm full-time.
I guess when it comes to our slogans, when it comes to, with character for creativity, it's kind of founded in the fact that we believe that character can be in anything, almost everything, but it's about an understanding of motion. You can get someone that's great at motion graphics, and they can kind of move designs around really, really well, and it's very, very smooth and fluid. But I think that extra something is when you can consider other things about just the basic shapes you're moving around the screen. Their weight, what kind of characteristics they have. You could almost create a full character just out of a square or a circle, and then applying those kind of animation principles to that, and kind of mix that into the motion to kind of garnish it with the characterfulness. So that on a very basic level, but I guess as well, as time has gone on, we're kind of being seen as very much a character animation studio, so we're doing a lot of that as well at a kind of a higher end.
Yeah, definitely. I think, exactly what Ed's saying. Like, you can have motion graphics and it can be animated in a very unengaging way, or it could be animated in a very characterful, entertaining way. So it doesn't matter what it is. If you've put energy into it, I think it will come across as more fun and playful. And I think, for me anyway, when I think about how we present ourselves, I think characterful means kind of fun as well. So even if we're not moving something, or if we're designing anything, there's always that element of kind of playfulness and fun that we like to have with our work. So
yeah, and the ability to emote as well, create emotion from something very, very simple, and it's a tough thing to kind of achieve, especially in animation. Trying to get people to kind of empathize with your characters and to kind of create an emotional response. But the more you can get people to engage and relate, the easier that job becomes. So, and then if you've got something that's moving around the screen very convincingly in a fairly buoyant way, you immediately assume, that's alive. The life is there, the character is there, and therefore I can sit here and kind of understand the notion of this shape or this character. It's more believable almost. And as setting that up as a bit of a foundation for the studio means that we're always striving to kind of keep that side of things as optimized as possible, even on the lower budget projects. Animation is suited to a lot. I mean, it's a kind of it's a form of communication, and it's a very succinct form of communication as well. So even if your brand isn't necessarily geared towards graphics that might suggest animation, you can have animation as an accompaniment to kind of, as Russ mentioned earlier, explainers, etc., to kind of talk about your brand.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's easy to sort of say that a brand that's kind of focused towards kids or something like that, where you have something very playful, it's easy to go, okay, maybe animation would be perfectly suited for that, because then you can do some fun, funny characters or something. But it doesn't have to be that, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it's a bit stereotypical there for animation. I mean, actually, that's one thing that lots of clients worry about is, having animation, is that going to make our brand really childish? And that's completely, you can have something that moves in a very childish way, that's very akin to a kids' TV series, but at the same time you can have something that's very sophisticated, and that's very much a watchword of us recently. Make sure it maintains a sophisticated edge. And
I think what's interesting is when you talk to people who are kind of not in the design or animation world, and then you tell them you're an animator, and the only animation that really springs to mind for them is oh, you mean Pixar or something, or Disney. And there's just so much, it's kind of invisible almost, because we're completely surrounded by animation all the time, particularly in advertising. It's just absolutely everywhere, and so it just kind of fits into all different moods and sentiments. So yeah, I mean it's just very versatile.
I would safely say that we don't have all the skills. I mean, there are so many animation tools out there, and they fit different people, and different people use different things. We've got a lot of bases covered. We use a lot of the Adobe suite for our drawn and sort of vector-based animations, and Cinema 4D for our 3D. Russ came on board and brought that skill set. So I guess, with the team expanding, everyone kind of has their own strengths and can bring that to the table, but we tend to all kind of sync up when it comes to software.
We've got a lot of 2D animators in-house, so we kind of have our 2D digital stuff and hand-drawn covered, and also a bit of 3D. But on some projects, like, we do get specialist animators in. So, for instance, on a recent job, we had a stop-motion animator come in, and they had one of the rooms back there was a dedicated stop-motion studio. So, I mean, that was really fun for us, because every day we could sort of go in and see what they've been working on, and like real models compared to most of the stuff is on the computer. But so occasionally we have like special skills brought in. But,
and doing that's really good for the team as well, because when somebody comes in with a particular skill set that potentially not many people have experimented with, it can be quite a source of inspiration, and then something that our core team can look into and maybe experiment with themselves on a project, and that just expands the skill set. So side projects are really, really important to us. I guess in a way, it was side projects that really kick-started the whole sort of production process that we kind of have here. We initially didn't really have very many client projects at the very, very beginning, and it was through like creating side projects that got the phone ringing. So we've taken that and we've run with it, and it's sort of a continual thing, sort of perpetual workload that we're kind of pushing out that basically keeps the jobs coming through the door.
Yeah, I think because coming from uni, I know Ed and Tom from uni, and I think it was because coming into that atmosphere, it really felt like a continuation of that. We were all working on our own stuff anyway, so just having that going in the background while we had downtime, it just makes perfect sense. And then basically making things that we want to do, we put it out there. Clients come to us for the stuff that we make that we love making anyway, so it just kind of makes sense, and it's like a cycle of work almost.
That's right, and it's a good test bed as well. It means that we can make those mistakes, we can experiment, and it's not on client time, and we can find really, really great results, which then we can put towards our client work. So it's brilliant for us. What's another thing that's always been a really big goal for us is our social media. We've always tried to kind of, it sounds a bit silly, but for us, Facebook likes and Twitter follows and Instagram likes and stuff, that's really important, and it's a great way to get an audience, and it means that whenever we do a little side project, we can instantly get it out in front of lots of people, and then they start talking about it. And I guess it's about sort of just splashing around in the great big lake that is the animation world, making as many ripples as you can, because then those ripples get noticed, and if you're not just splashing around, you're expecting it to happen, it's not going to, because I can guarantee there's someone else making a bigger splash further down the road.